Success is not final, failure is not fatal, it is the courage to continue that counts. Men occasionally stumble over the truth, but most of them pick themselves up and hurry off as if nothing had happened. My tastes are simple, I am easily satisfied with the best. You have enemies, good, that means you've stood up for something, sometime in your life. If you are going through hell, keep going. Tact is the ability to tell someone to go to hell in such a way that they look forward to the trip. It is not enough that we do our best, sometimes we must do what is required. The best argument against democracy is a 5-minute conversation with the average voter. A lady came up to me one day and said, "Sir, you are drunk," to which I replied, "I am drunk today, madam, and tomorrow I shall be sober, but you will still be ugly." Never give in, never give in, never, 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 in nothing, great or small, large or petty, never give in, except to convictions of honor and good sense. Never yield to force, never yield to the apparently overwhelming might of the enemy. Personally, I'm always ready to learn, although I do not always like being taught. A fanatic is one who can't change his mind and won't change the subject. Continuous effort, not strength or intelligence, is the key to unlocking our potential. An appeaser is one who feeds a crocodile, hoping it will eat him last. We are all worms, but I do believe that I am a glowworm. A good speech should be like a woman's skirt, long enough to cover the subject and short enough to create interest. We sleep safely at night because rough men stand ready to visit violence on those who would harm us. You will never reach your destination if you stop and throw stones at every dog that barks. I pass with relief from the tossing sea of cause and theory to the firm ground of result and fact. Criticism may not be agreeable, but it is necessary. It fulfills the same function as pain in the human body. It calls attention to the development of an unhealthy state of things. If it is heeded in time, danger may be averted. If it is suppressed, a fatal distemper may develop. If you have an important point to make, don't try to be subtle or clever. Use a pile driver. Hit the point once, then come back and hit it again. Then hit it a third time, a tremendous whack. In the course of my life, I have often had to eat my words, and I must confess that I have always found it a wholesome diet. You ask, what is our aim? I can answer in one word. It is victory. Victory at all costs. Victory in spite of all terror. Victory, however long and hard the road may be. For without victory, there is no survival. Before you can inspire with emotion, you must be swamped with it yourself. Before you can move their tears, your own must flow. To convince them, you must yourself believe. Writing a book is an adventure. To begin with, it is a toy and an amusement. Then it becomes a mistress, then it becomes a master, then it becomes a tyrant. The last phase is that just as you are about to be reconciled to your servitude, you kill the monster and fling him to the public. Now this is not the end. It is not even the beginning of the end, but it is, perhaps, the end of the beginning. From now on, ending a sentence with a preposition is something up with which I will not put. Occasionally he stumbled over the truth, but hastily picked himself up and hurried on as if nothing had happened. We contend that for a nation to try to tax itself into prosperity is like a man standing in a bucket and trying to lift himself up by the handle. The truth is incontrovertible. Malice may attack it, ignorance may deride it, but in the end, there it is. Every day you may make progress, every step may be fruitful, yet there will stretch out before you an ever-lengthening, ever-ascending, ever-improving path. You know you will never get to the end of the journey, but this, so far from discouraging, only adds to the joy and glory of the climb. The inherent vice of capitalism is the unequal sharing of blessings. The inherent vice of socialism is the equal sharing of miseries. It is a mistake to try to look too far ahead. The chain of destiny can only be grasped one link at a time. A love for tradition has never weakened a nation. Indeed, it has strengthened nations in their hour of peril. A politician needs the ability to foretell what is going to happen tomorrow, next week, next month, and next year, and to have the ability afterwards to explain why it didn't happen. There is no doubt that it is around the family and the home that all the greatest virtues, the most dominating virtues of human, are created, strengthened, and maintained. One ought never to turn one's back on a threatened danger and try to run away from it. If you do that, you will double the danger. But if you meet it promptly and without flinching, you will reduce the danger by half. A prisoner of war is a man who tries to kill you and fails, and then asks you not to kill him. The era of procrastination, of half measures, of soothing and baffling expedients, of delays is coming to its close. In its place, we are entering a period of consequences. You will make all kinds of mistakes, but as long as you are generous and true and also fierce, you cannot hurt the world or even seriously distress her. She was meant to be wooed and won by youth. Socialism is a philosophy of failure, the creed of ignorance, and the gospel of envy. Its inherent virtue is the equal sharing of misery. Battles are won by slaughter and maneuver. The greater the general, the more he contributes in maneuver, the less he demands in slaughter. I cannot forecast to you the action of Russia. It is a riddle wrapped in a mystery inside an enigma. But perhaps there is a key. That key is Russian national interest. To build may have to be the slow and laborious task of years. To destroy can be the thoughtless act of a single day. Sure I am this day we are masters of our fate, that the task which has been set before us is not above our strength, that its pangs and toils are not beyond our endurance. As long as we have faith in our own cause and an unconquerable will to win, victory will not be denied us. My wife and I tried to breakfast together, but we had to stop or our marriage would have been wrecked. One day President Roosevelt told me that he was asking publicly for suggestions about what the war should be called. I said at once, the unnecessary war. Danger. If you meet it promptly and without flinching, you will reduce the danger by half. Never run away from anything. Never. They say that nobody is perfect. Then they tell you practice makes perfect. I wish they'd make up their minds. Some regard private enterprise as if it were a predatory tiger to be shot. Others look upon it as a cow that they can milk. Only a handful see it for what it really is, the strong horse that pulls the whole cart. When I look back on all these worries, I remember the story of the old man who said on his deathbed that he had had a lot of trouble in his life, most of which had never happened. When I am abroad, I always make it a rule never to criticize or attack the government of my own country. I make up for lost time when I come home. I cannot pretend to be impartial about the colors. I rejoice with the brilliant ones, and am genuinely sorry for the poor browns. The whole history of the world is summed up in the fact that, when nations are strong, they are not always just, and when they wish to be just, they are no longer strong. I felt as if I were walking with destiny, and that all my past life had been but a preparation for this hour, and for this trial. I thought I knew a good deal about it all. I was sure I should not fail. The power of the executive to cast a man into prison without formulating any charge known to the law, and particularly to deny him the judgment of his peers, is in the highest degree odious, and is the foundation of all totalitarian government, whether Nazi or communist. How fortunate it was for the world that when these great trials came upon it, there was a generation that terror could not conquer, and brutal violence could not enslave. The way to achieve happiness is to try for perfection that is impossible to achieve, and spend the rest of your life trying to achieve it. There comes a precious moment in all of our lives when we are tapped on the shoulder and offered the opportunity to do something very special that is unique to us and our abilities. What a tragedy it would be if we are not ready or willing. Writing a long and substantial book is like having a friend and companion at your side, to whom you can always turn for comfort and amusement, and whose society becomes more attractive as a new and widening field of interest is lighted in the mind. A man does what he must, in spite of personal consequences, in spite of obstacles and dangers and pressures. And that is the basis of all human morality. The British nation is unique in this respect. They are the only people who like to be told how bad things are, who like to be told the worst. Let us therefore brace ourselves to our duties, and so bear ourselves that if the British Empire and its Commonwealth last for 1,000 years, men will still say, this was their finest hour.